Okay, guys, I'm here with Jason today, and I wanted to go over his story on how he was able to get funded for over $100,000 on Player Profit and how he was able to turn that into a $32,000 payout. I'm here on a call with Jason right now. How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good. I'm happy that you're able to get on this call. It's good to be seeing more people, get big payouts on Player Profit. Not that it's easy to do, but I've been seeing more people do it. And what you've done is super impressive. So first things first, if you could just tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into picking these winners.
All right, yeah. So I honestly started sports betting like a little over 6 months ago. I told myself that I wouldn't gamble, but I had a friend that, got me into it. And my first bet, it was like during like the NFL season, like mid-season, and I bet on the Steelers to beat the Browns and I lost $500. So worst way to, start off sports betting. But then, I came onto Player Profit. I saw it on TikTok. Sports betting without like using your own money is just a great way to like not be as stressed, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It takes away pretty much all the risk.
Exactly. Yeah.
At first you almost started at looking at it as the sense of, or I'm able to lock in picks without, risking any of my own money. And then it turned into something where once you actually got good at, picking winners, you were able to turn that into a big profit. Is that kind of right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like you're just not thinking, it's just less stress. You're able to pick more comfortable like bets using Player Profit
Yeah. So you can
since
focus
I
more on the
switched over.
strategy, focus more
Yeah,
on the strategy instead of the emotions behind the money. Absolutely. And how old are you, by the way, Jason?
27.
27. So how does it feel to be funded for 100K of bankroll at 27?
At first it's just like unbelievable, and then like if like a month later it's just like you just get used to it, and you're not the nerves aren't as like there once you're like placing like 1K 5K bets and all that stuff, but you're still mindful of it.
And I have to ask because I always think about this, like how does it go trying to explain this to your friends and family that you're funded with a bankroll on Player Profit? Like how does that go? Do people get it? Do people not get it? Like how does that go?
Realistically, people honestly people don't believe it. They don't believe it until you actually get that payout and you prove them wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that would be an interesting one to explain. Um, so what are some of the main sports, that you're putting your money on, and why are you putting your money on these sports versus some other sports? Like what are your go-tos and how do you identify that?
My biggest profit in sports wise is probably MLB.
Gotcha.
Just the odds are just like a lot better, and you can predict who's gonna win, and the odds are just like are really
A
good.
little bit less random things that can happen. You feel like you'll
Exactly.
be able to
Less
accurately predict.
spreads. Like as for like the NBA is just like yeah, that's probably like my worst. NBA is my worst.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So before you got funded on Player Profit, like you said you lost 500 bucks, betting on the NFL. What was like your typical unit size? How much money were you putting down on each game, before you got funded on Player Profit?
Honestly, when I first started, I didn't really have a structure. I just started just betting with the money I had. Like, I started betting 500, 100. Like, I didn't have my like unit sizing like well. That's the thing. Like, when I switched over to Player Profit, it taught me my mistakes, made me a better sports bettor in general. It
Absolutely.
taught me how to bankroll management, stay disciplined, committed. Everything. It made me a better sports bettor in general.
Yeah, so you're able to once you're funded for 100K, you're now able to lock in your units for $1,000 to $5,000. So I mean
Hmm.
that sounds like it was a big increase for you and also helped you with the structure of giving you a little bit more of a consistent unit size.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and then how long were you using Player Profit? Before you got funded, did you get funded on your first try? Did it take you a few tries? Did you fail a couple accounts before? Tell me about how that went.
Yeah, so I failed. This is my third account, third
Okay.
100K account. Yeah, so I did fail, but at the end of the day, I just didn't give up. I knew I can do it. I knew I can be better, learn from my mistakes, and it's worth the investment. Like I spent around like 3K from funded from for the bankroll, and I got like 95% investment from
Yeah, I
that.
see what you're saying. You almost kind of calculate those failed challenges into the bankroll that you get access to once you get into that funded phase. That
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important because I think a lot of people they think it's going to be easy, and but these challenges aren't easy. Even for
Mhm.
people who are good at picking winners like yourself. And I think a lot of people who are skilled enough to get funded actually give up too early because they just try once and they're like, oh, it's not going to work. So I think that persistence is good.
Yeah.
And calculating that in, the cost of the fees versus the bankroll that you're going to get access to, I think that's super important.
Exactly.
Yeah. So obviously, passing the challenge is not easy. And, there's going to be a lot of people watching this interview that are going to be looking up to you, that are going to want to replicate the exact success that you've had. If you had some advice to give to those people who are just starting out using Player Profit and want to get funded like you, what would be some big tips that you'd want to share with them?
Honestly, just don't chase your losses. Like you gotta control your emotions. Just because you have a bad day doesn't mean you're always gonna have a bad day. You can always go over, wait till the next day, and win bigger. It's all about, again, bankroll management. Don't place any bets more than you can afford, your bankroll and all that, and you'll end up creeping up to your goals, like your profit goals.
That's something I've noticed too is, Player Profit has that daily drawdown of 10% on your bankroll. And something that I think is almost frustrating to see is when people are, trying to get funded, seeing people risk more than 10% of their bankroll in a single day. That rule is in place there, but if you just don't risk more than 10% of your bankroll in a day, it's impossible to fail the account off of that rule. So
Exactly.
I like what you're saying, don't force yourself to, take games that you don't have an edge in. It's okay to take a little bit of a break. Don't chase your losses.
Mhm.
I think that's some really good advice.
Like you're not it's not a racing game. You have to go through 20 picks to go past the funded phase in general. So it's a slow game. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna take your time and make your like best picks, that's all that matters.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to see, another big payout come through. $32,000 is insane. And it's really cool to hear your story. I'm just excited to get on this call with you today. I imagine this won't be the last time seeing you. When you get another big payout, you keep printing on Player Profit. I'd imagine we'll do another interview. Maybe we can do a longer interview in the future. If more people want to see that, you can let me know down in the comments. And excited to see where your skills take you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Nice meeting you.
All right. I appreciate it, Jason. We can wrap it up there. And I appreciate you again. Thank you. All right, boys. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jason. It was really good talking to him and really good to hear another story of success using Player Profit, being able to get funded for $100,000 and getting a $32,000 payout. I'm going to keep doing these interviews, and it's really cool to see more and more people using Player Profit, more and more people getting funded. And I think it's great because the more people that are getting funded, the more people that are getting big payouts, the knowledge from those people can be shared in the Player Profit community, because we're going to be able to get more and more insider scoops from the people who are actually getting funded on Player Profit, and you guys will be able to listen and copy exactly what they do. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going to keep posting more educational content about Player Profit and keep interviewing the top users on Player Profit. And if any of you guys have gotten funded on Player Profit, or you want to do an interview with me, especially if you've gotten a big payout, I would love to interview you. You can DM me on my Instagram, which is marcus.betting, the exact same as this YouTube channel, or send me an email at playerpmarcus@gmail.com, and I'd love to share your story right here on this channel. All right, boys, that's going to be it. I'll see you in the next video. Again, make sure to subscribe for more Player Profit content, and I'll see you in the next one.